The NFL is still bleeding from shooting itself in the foot with the offensive and over-the-top mass protests against Trump. This is no longer about social justice, and the National Basketball Association is also alienating fans with outbursts from players, owners and coaches. Coaches like Gregg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs, who mistakenly believes that his 5 NBA titles have transformed him into some sort of revered moral authority or philosopher king. Popovich ripped President Trump, who he claims has turned the United States into a global embarrassment, as he defended petulant players like $201 million baby Stephen Curry after the mean man Trump ripped him on Twitter and disinvited him from the White House. Via the Hill, Spurs coach Gregg Popovich, US is a global embarrassment under Trump. Spurs coach Gregg Popovich took aim at President Trump, calling the United States a global embarrassment under his leadership after his attacks on African American athletes who have boycotted standing for the national anthem. "Our country is an embarrassment in the world," Popovich said in a press conference in response to the president's remarks over the weekend. The San Antonio basketball coach ridiculed Trump for stating that players who linked arms during the games were honoring the national anthem, compared to those who knelt. The players who linked arms appeared to be standing in solidarity with one another in a sign of protest against the president's attacks on certain NFL and NBA players. This is an individual who actually thought that when people held arms during the games, that they were doing it to honor the flag. That's delusional. Absolutely delusional, but it's what we have to live with, the coach said. Coach Pop didn't stop there. He continued to act as a virtue-signaling transmission beacon with comments that blasted the racist pejorative white privilege, a term as vile as the N-word that gets a free pass from the media, and said that it was imperative that white people be made uncomfortable. Well, because it's uncomfortable, and there has to be an uncomfortable element in the discourse for anything to change. Whether it's the LGBT movement, women's suffrage, race, it doesn't matter. People have to be made to feel uncomfortable, and especially white people, because we're comfortable. We still have no clue of what being born white means, he stated. If you read some of the recent literature, you'll realize there really is no such thing as whiteness, but we kind of made that up. That's not my original thought, but it's true. He added, because you were born white, you have advantages that are systemically, culturally, psychologically there. And they have been built up and cemented for hundreds of years. But many people can't look at it. It's too difficult. It's hard to see how he is helping to do anything other than to reinforce the perception of victimhood that is held by a large chunk of the black population, and as such, Popovich is a part of the problem and not a part of the solution. He can also babble on endlessly because it's not like the NBA is going to lose many fans due to protests against the oppressive white system, unlike the NFL is, which has a far more diverse audience that are being alienated by political preaching by people who should try getting a real job and working for a living in the real world.